Well, hip hip hooray, it's show and tell day. And today we're having show and tell about fossils. Now look up here. This is a fossil. Fossils are made from animals or plants that lived a very long time ago. This is a fossil of a creature, something like a lizard. You can see the bones there. Some fossils look like the whole animal or the whole plant. Some are more just the bones. Well, how can fossils be made? I have a little toy lizard. Now let's pretend that this lizard is alive. And here I have some Play-Doh. We'll pretend this lizard's living here. This Play-Doh represents dirt and mud. And he's having a nice life. And then he gets old and he dies. So we have this dead lizard here on the dirt. Well, time passes, and what happens? The wind blows, the rain washes dirt, and with time, a layer of mud and sand will cover this lizard. And as more time goes by, more layers will cover this lizard. And it turns out some fossils are very, very, very deep in the earth. Often you have to dig down very deep to find rocks with fossils. And as there's more and more layers, there's pressure. It pushes down on that dead lizard. Well, what do you think it looks like inside of here? You think he looks like a fossil? Now let's peel off the layers and see what's happened. There's one layer. Here comes the next one. Look at that. Can you see that? That's a print of the lizard. Now, this isn't really the lizard, but it looks like the lizard, doesn't it? You can see the feet, you can see the tail and the head. Many fossils are like this. They're not the actual animal or plant, but they're a print of the animal or the plant. But this is still called a fossil. Now, what about over here? This is the actual lizard that died, but he's not a lizard anymore. He is a lizard that has turned to stone. When an animal or a plant has been down under all that earth for thousands of years, all that pressure pushes down on him, and he turns to stone, just like the dirt and the sand around him. So this is another kind of fossil. So we have fossils that are made from the actual animal, and we also have fossils that are prints of the animal. Now let's look at a few more fossils together. Here I have a picture of some fish fossils. You can see the fins and the head. Aren't they amazing? Now these kind of dip in, don't they? This fossil comes out. So you can tell this is the actual fish that died. It's not just a print. Look at this. This creature looks like a crab. Can you see the body and the legs and the little pinchers up there? And these are from plants. Here's a leaf. Here's another kind of leaf from plants that lived thousands of years ago. It's just amazing. Well, people that study fossils are called paleontologists. Would you like to be a paleontologist? They study plant fossils, animal fossils. They study old bones that have turned to fossils. It's a really fun job. And they study them and they learn about plants and animals that lived a very long time ago. This little creature is very unusual. Of course, he's not alive anymore. He is now extinct. Do you know what extinct means? It means that this animal is no longer on the earth. There are many animals that are no longer on the earth, and the only way we can study them at all is by looking at their fossils. Dinosaurs fall into this category, and there are many other plants and animals that we can only study by looking at their fossils. Look at this strange creature. Isn't he amazing? I'm so glad that we have a fossil of him so we can see what he looks like. Now these are crinoids. They're very strange living things that live in the ocean. Now these are things that you could find today if you were looking down in the ocean. But there are some crinoids that you can't find anymore because they lived thousands of years ago. And these are some fossils that have been found of crinoids. Isn't that strange? Look, you can see the curly tentacles. They're really different looking, aren't they? So they're a lot like some of the ones we still have in the ocean, but they're not exactly the same. These crinoids are now extinct. Well, let's look at the fossils that the children have. It turns out that the fossils Darius brought are pieces of crinoids. Look at this. They're little pieces of tentacle. Isn't that amazing? It is so strange to be looking at stone and imagine that it used to be alive. Thousands of years ago, all these little pieces. Now you can get out your magnifying glass and study it closely, and you'll see all kinds of detail. Let's look at what Sean has here. What do you think this is a fossil of? It's a little fish, isn't it? Now, some fossils show the whole creature. Other ones mainly show the bones. This one's mostly the bones. You can see where the backbone would be down the middle. It's really neat, though. A little tiny fish that died, and then it turned to stone. Wow, Donna has a whole bunch of fossils. Look at this. Her fossils look like shells. There were many sea creatures that lived thousands of years ago, and now we have the shells that have turned to stone. Look at all of these. They're so fun. This one's really neat. It's kind of a mudstone that has a fossil here. Look at this side. This is a print. Can you see that? That's just a print. That's not the real shell, but that's where a shell used to be. This stone also shows a print of a small shell. So that is a fossil that is a print. Well, now I'm going to bring out my fossil. This is a great big fossil of some creature that lived a long time ago. This actually is my dad's fossil. He loves fossils too, but he let me use it. Look at all that detail. Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. To find a fossil like this, you'd have to dig very deep in the earth. And there's so much we can learn by studying the fossils. So today we've learned about fossils. We've learned that they're made from animals or plants that lived thousands of years ago, and now their dead bodies have turned to stone.